Teams are on their way out. It is Arsenal against Crystal Palace. It's, of course, live and exclusive and only on Talksport. And the Talksport listener heat map, red hot in Liverpool tonight. They're waiting to secure the Premier League title, the Reds. It's inevitable. It's just a matter of when. They await the result of this one, live and exclusive on Talksport as Arsenal take on Crystal Palace. Here's former Benfica fullback Scott Minto alongside Nigel Adderley.
Thank you, Adrian. Good evening once again. It's all about the cups for both Arsenal and Crystal Palace now. And tonight could be an exercise in avoiding injury. But the Gunners won't want to hand the title to Liverpool on a night off. And Palace won't want to head to Wembley on the back of another thumping. So there is motivation for both on a night when Liverpool could end up as the really big winners. A reminder of the teams once again. 4 changes for Arsenal and Crystal Palace. The Gunners, first of all, Mikel Arteta confirming before kick-off that both Ben White and Mikel Merino are unfit to be part of the matchday squad. Alexander Zinchenko and Bukayo Saka dropped to the bench, so Bukayo Saka is fit enough to be involved despite that challenge from Leif Davis at the weekend. Miles Lewis-Skelly, Urin Timber, Thomas Partey and Raheem Sterling all come into the team. So it's Raya in goal, the back four, Timber, Saliba, Kivior and Lewis-Skelly. Rice and Partey holding in midfield with Ødegaard. Sterling and Martinelli in support of Trossard, who is the current central striker. The Crystal Palace one change in force. Chris Richards suspended after their red card against Bournemouth at the weekend. Will Hughes, Ismaila Sarr and Jean-Philippe Mateta all on the bench. So Jefferson Lerma comes into the back four. Daichi Kamada will hold in midfield with Justin Devenny behind Eddie Nketiah. So it's Henderson in goal, Lacroix, Lerma and Guéhi the back three. Oz, Wharton, Kamada and Mitchell across midfield with Devenny and Eze supporting Nketiah in attack. The 2 captains, Martin Ødegaard and Mark Guéhi, just meeting with our referee Michael Salisbury in the centre circle on a clear, dry but rather chilly late April evening here in North London. And the Arsenal fans maybe slightly subdued before kick-off, and really, Scott Minto, the same goes for the Palace supporters as well. It's almost as if everybody's got their minds elsewhere this evening.
Yeah, they're just waiting, aren't they, for the next game, which is the most important game of their season for both of these sides. There is a little bit of a more of an advantage for Arsenal, hence the strong team selection, the fact that their big game is 6 days away. Palace, obviously, just the 3. They need to be careful. There's no doubt about it, it will be in their minds. They've got to try and put it out of their minds somehow. But yeah, I do think with the strength of the side, with the game coming so quickly for Palace, not so quickly for Arsenal, this should be a comfortable home win.
Well, Oliver Glasner not happy that Crystal Palace were playing a day after Aston Villa, who of course lost at Manchester City live on Talksport last night. Both involved at Wembley, and we'll have that game for you. Both FA Cup semi-finals over the weekend. And we are underway here at the Emirates Stadium. Is tonight the night that Liverpool clinch their 20th league title. Crystal Palace will have to win that game here for that to be the case, and they've only won once at Arsenal in the last 31 years. As it's played forward on this near side by Timber to clear. Arsenal, of course, in their red and white. Palace in all yellow this evening. Guéhi on this near side, finding Mitchell infield towards the edge of the penalty area, where it's cut out by Rice. And now Arsenal have the opportunity to build with Kivior on the far side. Lewis-Skelly back to the pole once again. Arsenal playing towards the goal to our right in the first half, which has the Palace supporters behind it. Of course, they won by 5 goals to 1 at Selhurst Park back in December, when both teams were in a very different mindset. Arsenal were right on the heels of Liverpool, and Palace looked to be set for a winter of relegation struggle, but things have turned around on both counts. And looking around the stadium here, particularly in the top tier, a number of empty seats, certainly at kick-off time. Of course, it's always a tricky ground to get to for an evening kick-off midweek. And it's an expensive time of the season as well, with some European trips to maybe plan and pay for as well, as Martinelli goes forward on the far side. Lerma comes out of the back three to make the challenge on the Palace right, and he concedes the free kick. And we've seen Lerma play as a central defender before, but it's always a slight risk playing someone like him in the back three, a fish out of water.
Yeah, well, look, I think he is versatile enough to be able to do that. You know, he's one of those sort of holding central midfielders anyway, so he should be able to just slip in there as that third centre half, and he has played that position before. He's a very experienced player, international of course, so no, I don't have a problem with him playing in that position. Just the question of how do Arsenal start? Do they have the intensity? Do they want to put this game to bed early or not?
Free kick on the far side for Arsenal, which Ødegaard is over on their left. A high line from Palace, and it's flighted in towards Kivior, and that's a towering header from Jakub Kivior. His first goal for well over a year, and he absolutely thundered it in. Ødegaard's delivery, and Kivior rising above the entire Palace defence. A goal for Arsenal within 3 minutes. And on this showing, Liverpool will not win the title here tonight.
Wow, well, do they want to start early and start with high intensity? For sure, but I mean, look, that's such a poor goal to concede. It's a free kick that's come in. It's a decent free kick, but not a brilliant one. Palace so concentrated on the high line that Kivior is completely free. He's got no one around him. 2 yards, first of all, and even when he heads the ball, there's still no one within a yard. It's a completely free header. But do you know what? It's a very good one because he's in line with the near post, so he has to generate the power as well as the precision. He's done that, giving Dean Henderson no chance whatsoever. I mean, what a start for Arsenal.
Kivior's first goal since February of 2024. Of course, he's had a run of games in the starting lineup following the injury for Gabriel. He's got some big games to be involved in between now and the end of the season as well. And he's made the perfect start here for Arsenal. And interestingly, it was Eddie Nketiah, the player he ran off there on the edge of the area.
Well, I'm not quite sure why Eddie Nketiah is picking him up, but I mean, Palace need to be careful. We know that they conceded 5 against City, 5 against Newcastle. I was at Selhurst Park at the weekend where they just played for the clean sheet, albeit they did go down to 10 men on half-time. But to concede 1-0, and in that manner, so early on, you need to make sure they don't concede another 5.
Free kick now for Palace at the other end. Wharton's delivery. Kivior is there to head the ball away this time. But it's gathered on this near side by Kamada down the left. Munoz is chasing forward, and Partey comes across. And Palace, already a goal down with 4.5 minutes played here on Talksport, have a corner kick on this near side.
Yeah, it's been a decent response from them. Just in the minutes or so, gone down the right-hand side, trying to whip the ball in, now down the left, and they've got a corner. If they can bounce back quickly, then that does dispel any fears. As I say, it's all about the game at the weekend, the FA Cup semi-final.
Corner kick in towards that near post, guided away once again. Mitchell will gather for Palace, clip high towards the far side. It's a good ball back into the area, but Raya, stooping on the edge of the 6-yard box, will gather, and he quickly bowls it out over the halfway line. And there's pace and time now for Martinelli down the left. He's got Sterling waiting in the centre, but Martinelli just overrunning it, under pressure there from Mitchell. And it will be a goal kick to Crystal Palace. Half-time at Kingsmeadow in the Women's Super League. Here's Ian Abrahams.
Leaders Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace who are bottom 0. 2 goals in a minute. First Gura Wrighton from the spot after a handball, and then Katerina Macario from the centre of the box. Chelsea in total control, going 6 clear at the top. Chelsea 2, Palace 0.
So, not a good start for Palace wherever you look this evening on Talksport. Nearly 6 minutes played here at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Jakub Kivior, the unlikely goal scorer, but maybe a set piece is not so unlikely. It's their 22nd set piece goal in all competitions this season, now 16 in the Premier League, which is more than anyone else. Palace are the closest team to them, and they made so much of set pieces in the first half of the season. Maybe their production has not quite been as good since overall in the Premier League, but that really was a throwback to how they were playing in the autumn.
Do you know what though, Nigel? It wasn't as if it was a really well-worked corner or free kick where someone's moved off as a little dummy, there's a 1-2 touch. It's just a simple ball in and a free header.
Arsenal give the ball away cheaply now. Devaney clips it in, looking for Kamada. It may drop to Nketiah now from Kivior's knockdown. Wide towards the right-hand side. The cross delivered high into the penalty area. Clips off the head of Eze. Recovered well by Gahey, who looks to twist and turn on the edge of the area, slips, then drives in across. That's blocked, but it's not being cleared. Fired towards goal and just wide by Kamada. It may have taken a touch on the way through. It did, and it's a corner kick to Palace, but really, they should have equalised that.
Well, I'll tell you what, again, we talk about the response of a team when they go 1-0 down earlier on. It's been very good from Palace. Mark Gahey goes down, thought he'd won a free kick, but still has the time to get up and try to whip the ball in. And do you know what? Kamada does really well, actually. He chests it down and doesn't quite get great contact on it, but just the other side of the post with the deflection.
Corner kick once again. Adam Wharton is over it. Kamada goes across as the short option, and Arsenal's defending there was not at all convincing on 2 or 3 occasions during that move. Wharton's corner again, clipped into the near post. Raya comes for it, gets nowhere near it, but it bobbles behind in the end off the head of Nketiah. He would love a goal here this evening, and it's a goal kick.
Boy, he would love a goal for sure.
What was Raya doing there?
He was nowhere near it, as you said. And to be fair to Eddie Nketiah, he jumped up really high above everybody, and you wouldn't expect that with this Arsenal defence. Didn't quite get the proper contact on it, but David Raya nowhere. That was definitely half a chance.
8 minutes played, Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. A very busy weekend of football coming up on the Talksport network. We start with Stoke against Sheffield United on Talksport 2 on Friday night. Stoke need maybe a point to be absolutely sure of survival in the Championship. Sheffield United heading for the playoffs. Then on Saturday, Chelsea against Everton at 12:30 with Reshman, Joe Shannon and Stuart Pearce. Massive game at both ends of the Championship on Talksport 2. Luton against Coventry with Faye, Ian Danter and Alvin Martin. Adrian will have it Game Day Live with all the goals as they go in. We'll also have a Premier League commentary at 3 o'clock with Palace against Aston Villa coming up at 5:15, the first FA Cup semi-final. Rice now on the edge of the Palace penalty area, gathers, slips it through looking for Martinelli down the left, back towards Rice again, who fires the shot in low, but it's wide of the near post.
I don't want to speak too soon, but I don't think we've seen the only goal of the game so far. Arsenal obviously trying to attack, look dangerous when they do, especially on the counter. But Palace have also shown that they can perhaps look dangerous as well. I mean, I hope it's one of those games where both teams sort of think, obviously Arsenal don't want Liverpool to win the title tonight, make them do it themselves. But it's all about next week, and the same for Palace, it's all about on Saturday. So let's just go out there and try and be as open as possible. The nerves aren't there so much.
And as you and Adrian were saying before kick-off, they also need to be wary of the teams coming behind them, and they've got Bournemouth and Newcastle to come here at home, and they've got to go to Liverpool along with Southampton on the final day. And of course Newcastle have beaten them 3 times this season.
Yeah, I mean that's why I think, you know, the Ipswich win was very important tonight. To get all 3 points is very important, just to keep all those teams at arm's length. I do think they will finish second, but you know, they still have to earn the right to do that. As I say, we were talking about it earlier. You know, we hope that they get through to the final, but there's absolutely no guarantees that they will. So if they finish third and get knocked out of the semis, there's no doubt about it, people will be having a pop at Arteta.
Arsenal looking to finish second for the 3rd successive season, something they also did under Arsene Wenger between 1999 and 2001, and then the following season they came back and won the double. Now Kivior, the goal scorer so far, with nearly 11 minutes played here on Talksport at the Emirates Stadium.
And he's done well actually, Kivior, hasn't he, since he's come into the side. You know, a couple of seasons ago obviously it was Saliba who got injured and Rob Holding who came in, and there was a bit of a collapse. They missed him big time, and it's not to say that Arsenal wouldn't be even better defensively with Gabriel in the side, but I think Kivior's come in and has done well.
Sterling almost released on this near side by Partey. It's scraped away by Gahey. He's now helped out by Mitchell, but the challenge comes in from Sterling. Trossard back to Partey. And Arsenal are really up for this. Of course, there's motivation to win every single game, but to keep Liverpool honest right to the very end, I'm sure, is in their minds. As Rice plays it wide towards Martinelli once again. Ødegaard. Liverpool, of course, at home to Spurs on Sunday. We're all assuming they're going to beat Spurs, but...
Are you not?
Yeah. And you're listening to Arsenal against Crystal Palace on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games live, available with no contract now, like this game live right now. Search Now Sports.
What I will say is, I'm sure whether they win the title tonight or not, I think they're all having a good night together, aren't they, right now?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the way this game has started, I think if Arsenal get a second, it may be an early cab home. Partey.
Or maybe not.
And then Eze back towards Guéhi, and here is Mitchell for Palace, who played some decent football so far after falling behind, as Eze is pulled down by Partey, and it will be a free kick. Eze once again shuffles inside, clips it over the top, looking for Nketiah, who could be in here. Nketiah with a low ball across the face of goal, and Deveni unable to put the loose ball in. And from the moment that Nketiah got goal side of Saliba there were possibilities for Palace, and I'm not quite sure how Deveni didn't turn the loose ball into the back of the net.
Well, it's brilliant. And first of all, I was thinking, I really want to see Eze step up. He's a player I like so much. Saw him play for QPR, and I knew he would be an absolute star. Great ball, but the movement was fantastic from Eddie Nketiah. Kiwior has to go with him. He's clearly not communicated Saliba. Saliba doesn't know he's behind him and made the run, so therefore he's got to run with him, because there's no real pressure on the ball. And then it's, can you get the shot off? By taking that first touch, he's gone a little bit further away, but he's still able to get the ball across. And yeah, Deveni will feel that perhaps he should have got on the end of that.
Now Martinelli wins it back by the corner flag on the far side. Lerma standing firm for now, right in front of those Palace fans grouped around the corner flag on the far side. And it will be a throw-in, which his fellow Colombian Daniel Munoz will take.
Good game this though, Nige, isn't it?
It is.
We weren't quite sure what to expect, where both these teams are thinking, well, you know, it's not the calm before the storm, but certainly the game before the real season-defining one, and how would they play? Would that be on their minds? But both teams attacking very well.
And really, Palace have had more clear-cut chances in the game than Arsenal have, but they trail here by a 1-0 with 14 minutes played. They've not won here since April of 2019. Their only win in 31 years. Almost seems like a different age now. Benteke, Zaha and MacArthur were the Palace goal scorers that day. Ozil and Aubameyang on the mark for the Gunners. Although Aubameyang is still banging the goals in Saudi Arabia.
Remember those two, Ozil and Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Not Mikel Arteta players.
No.
Despite their talent.
Now Deveni wins it back for Palace, infield towards Eze, but it's just cut out by Saliba this time. And Timber can bring it forward for Arsenal over the halfway line on the right. Infield towards Trossard, and it's lofted cross-field from right to left, looking for Lewis Skelly, but despite the high kick, he's unable to keep the ball in play, and it will be a throw-in for Palace. 15 minutes played here on Talksport. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0, so at the moment Liverpool will not be winning the championship here tonight. And Arsenal have only lost one home this season, and of course that was that loss to West Ham United, and really that precipitated a mediocre run of form which has allowed Liverpool to stride clear without playing particularly well themselves. Arsenal have dropped 11 points in their last 8 games, and they've only scored more than once, twice during that run as well, so
that's an issue. That's an issue for sure. And again, we can talk about, you know, don't need that number 9 and the goals can go around. Well, really, you want both.
Manchester City have won the league with a number 9, whether it's been Aguero or Haaland.
Yeah.
And Liverpool have done it. I know Salah plays wide, but
No, but he's your top goal scorer,
Yeah.
isn't he? You stand out goal scorer, the person you can rely on, whether he's a 9 or a forward, whatever you want to call him. He is absolutely guaranteed for goals. Haaland's had a shocker of a season, yet look at the numbers he's got.
still got 30 goals. I mean, you look at, Saka 8, Marino 8, Martinelli 9, Trossard 9. Everybody's chipping in, but you need everyone chipping in around a 25 goal striker.
Yeah, and you know what? It's not just about the amount of goals; it's when those goals come in. You can win a game 4-2 or even 4-0, but actually it's those games where it's 1-1. Can you find a way to turn 1 point into 3? That's where that one goal becomes worth 3 goals in a 4-0 win. So it's absolutely at the right time, and where the truly top strikers step up and win games.
Good ball forward now from Wharton for Palace. And there was the opportunity for Devaney to quickly release it forward for Nketiah, but it's wide to the left-hand side. And Mitchell and Oliver Glasner, very animated on the edge of the Palace technical area, wanted them to just move that ball a bit quicker, wide towards the left, but now on the right. Lerma will play it infield to Gahey once again. Eze, who has already played one, absolutely gorgeous ball over the top, looking for Nketiah, which created that earlier opportunity. And he rather saunters infield once again beyond Sterling and skews a ball wide to the far side, which deflects into the path of Lerma. And Palace still have the opportunity to bring it forward now. Munoz will always be prominent wide on the right, but here is Kamada looking to the left of Mitchell, and it's a good ball to find him. Mitchell with the cross, but into the arms of Raya, with both Eze and Nketiah waiting, and Arsenal will quickly try and break from the early release once again. Rice coming in field from the left-hand side, but no going back to William Saliba.
It's where I like Tyreek Mitchell, and obviously someone in that position similar to mine. I'm always looking out even more so. He's a very good defender. He did extremely well. I think it was on Martinelli 10-15 minutes ago, but just going forward, I think he just lacks that little bit of... He's a left back, not quite a wing back. And if he can get those quality balls in a little bit better, he gets himself in the right position, and he's a great athlete. And then he can become a truly class Premier League full-back, wing-back, whichever.
Partey, a good ball forward to find Lewis Skelly, who is very much a full-back who can get forward and provide the sort of ammunition Arsenal are looking forward to. Now Saliba. And Timber again. Oliver Glasner described this as Crystal Palace's Champions League week, with the semi-finalists tonight, the quarter-finalists at Wembley, as Trossard brings a long ball down inside the penalty area, under pressure from Gahey, and it's squeezed away, and Munoz will try and bring it forward now. Great energy from him again, looking for Devaney. Devaney's got goal side for a moment of Lewis Skelly. Back towards Munoz, who slides in on the stretch, and Arsenal will clear. Didn't quite play the right option there, with Eze unmarked in the centre, and now Rice can bring it forward for Arsenal. Up to the halfway line, Kamada's challenge, but Rice managing to bypass him with the help of Partey. It's wide to Sterling now on the right hand side. Mitchell showing him the outside. Sterling takes that route, but the cross in was scuffed and into the arms of Henderson.
Well, look, I mean, the good side of that was that Sterling was trying to be positive. The bad side is you just got the feeling that Mitchell was showing him down the outside and was quite comfortable with that as well. Needed to play a little 1-2. Again, I don't know what his stats are in terms of, one, the amount of sprints, but also the pace of his sprints now compared to 2 or 3 years ago. But he doesn't look the same player 2 or 3 years ago, does he?
Now, 1 goal in the EFL Cup this season, 5 assists, and this only his 6th start in the Premier League. As Lewis Skelly goes back to the goal scorer, Kivior. 21 minutes played here on Talksport. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. And we've got both FA Cup semi-finals coming up at the weekend. Palace Villa 5:15 on Saturday, and then 4:30 on Sunday, Forest against Manchester City with Adrian, Jim Proudfoot and Stuart Pearce, who of course has managed both clubs. And over on Talksport 2 on Sunday, we will have both of the Women's Champions League semi-final second legs. Chelsea against Barcelona at 2 and Lyon against Arsenal at 5. And both the English teams have work to do, arguably Chelsea more than Arsenal. As Arsenal's men come forward here with Timber, and they've just taken control of the game after Palace had a good spell immediately after the goal, but Sterling there coming in field and almost giving the ball away to Kamada, and it's almost as if he didn't have the confidence to come in field.
Yeah, and so almost the sort of first couple of yards to sprint away in the way that he used to, that he doesn't anymore. You know, he's come inside because he perhaps realises now, okay, I've tried around the outside, I haven't got the pace of the fullback, so I'll come inside. And even then, Tyrick Mitchell showed a bit of pace and strength as well, just to nick the ball. So he's got to be clever. He's got to look around, get options, play little 1-2s around him. So he's going to find it difficult to do it in a 1-on-1 situation.
A long diagonal ball seeking him out now, but it's headed away by Mitchell. But Trossard will find Sterling again. And you can sense the encouragement from the crowd. They want him to do well. He works the 1-2 this time, finding Rice with a shot, right-footed just wide. And that is the Raheem Sterling the Arsenal fans want to see, linking up intelligently, and Rice wasn't too far away from making it 2-0.
Yeah, really clever play from Sterling. Again, coming inside and happy to play a little 1-2 with Trossard, who then he laid it then off to Declan Rice. His first touch, strike, just dragged it a little bit. I think his body shape was always going towards that side of things, and it needed to be right in the corner. In the end, it was just wide, but good play from Sterling and from Arsenal.
23 minutes played. Raheem Sterling now 30 years of age, and we often hear about players talking about how they have to adapt their game the older they get, and when you are reliant on pace and trickery, maybe that's something he needs to do, but it's difficult to do it when the confidence is low.
Do you know what? It depends, Nigel. It just depends on the individual. Look at Mo Salah, who's older than him. He looks as if he could play for another 5 years, doesn't he? So it just depends on that particular individual. But if you have lost a yard, then you need to be a little bit cuter, and he showed that there, so that was very good play from him.
It's been a red card at Kingsmeadow in the WSL. Here's Ian Abrahams.
Red card and a goal. Chelsea 3, Crystal Palace 0. Palace lost their captain Alison Swarby, who was sent off for a pressure foul, bringing down Nuskin on the edge of the penalty area, and Katerina Makaria for the resulting free kick fired Chelsea's third. Chelsea 3, Palace 0.
Well, they need 3 goals against Barcelona to level the scores on Sunday, and that game is going very much with form, top against bottom in the Women's Super League tonight. And Saliba comes forward here for Arsenal. 25 minutes played. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. If you've just joined us on Talksport, Jakub Kivior heading in the only goal in the 3rd minute. But since then, Palace have had some decent opportunities. Saliba plays it high again. Lerma with a good leap above Martinelli to clear. Gahey sliding in to find Devaney. Devaney's got Nketiah ahead of him on the edge of the penalty area, maybe just caught unintentionally by Saliba as he looked to burst onto that, and Arsenal are able to clear. Rice in the centre circle, but the yellow shirts converge on him. One back by Lerma. Devaney will quickly find Eze. Eze had the option of Mitchell down the left-hand side, but just slows things down, rolls the ball under his studs, and goes back to Mark Gahey.
I just thought he could have played it really early to Eddie Nketiah. He was making great movement up there. He's finding the space in between Kivior and Saliba, and it looks like between the two centre-halves. Said about how well Kivior has done. Obviously, Saliba's bordering on world-class, if not world-class already. There doesn't seem to be any communication between the two, and Eddie Nketiah's finding little pockets of space between them.
Wharton, a good ball wide towards Munoz down the right-hand side. Kamada makes the dash into the penalty area. He delivers the cross in, which is blocked by Rice at the near post. And Palace have another corner kick here.
They're keeping them honest, aren't they? For sure. It's not as if Palace are saying, OK, well, we'll even take a 1-0 defeat at the moment. Big game coming up in just a few days' time. No. They've reacted really well since going down and giving away what was a really poor goal to concede.
And they won't want to go into a semi-final with 1 point in 4 games. People say, well, you know, it's a different game, but you want form. Players want individual form as well. But it's a corner kick here. And they've applied some pressure to Arsenal. And it's drifted out towards Eze on the edge of the penalty area. He volleys it! Oh, it's a brilliant goal! Eberici Eze with an absolute cracker for Crystal Palace. The corner drifted out to him on the edge of the penalty area, and he took it on the volley, hammered it into the ground, and it kissed the inside of the post, and David Raya barely moved. And that is the quality of Eberici Eze, and it's Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 1.
Well, we talk about how good Arsenal have been this season for set pieces going forward, but how can you leave Eberici Eze just completely free on the tee? There's no one within, say, almost 10 yards around him. By the time he takes the volley, there's two players trying to come out, but it's too late. He's able to get in line with the ball. It's not the sweetest of strikes, but what he has tried to do is make sure, one, he gets on top of it, and then two, he gets it on target as well. And look, there's a whole host of players it's got to go through. I'm not actually sure, unless David Raya saw that late, that even if there weren't those players there, he would have saved it. Diving full strength, full stretch, and it goes in off the post.
I mean, that's a brilliant strike to get that power when the ball's that high in the air, and he's having to hit it down, and sometimes they bobble, but that seemed to gather pace the closer it travelled to the goal.
I'm not sure if I'd have done my groin or my hamstring trying to get my leg up that high, Nige, but what I would say is he's definitely capable of doing that. And I said at the start of the game, I'd be very surprised if he plays the full 90 minutes, but just in the last couple of games, it's not quite been on form. I've seen him, I know how good he can be. So look, go out there, give us 60 minutes, go and do what you can do on what is a wonderful platform as well, and get yourself into form for what is a crucial game on Saturday. And I'll tell you what, that ball over the top he played for Eddie Nketiah, and that volley there, he's shown in moments what he's capable of.
8th goal of the season, 4th in the Premier League. And after that terrible missed penalty at Newcastle, that is very much the other side of Eberici Eze's game, and it's 1-1. And on the balance of play, Palace are not flattered by that.
Now, do you know what? Arsenal have had double the possession, but it's Palace who have had 5 shots to Arsenal's 3, and both teams have scored with their only shot on target.
Well, if Palace score again, they'll be digging up the bunting on Merseyside. And Arsenal looking to play out on the far side and put the ball straight out of play, and the Palace supporters who have sold up their allocation jubilant on the far side as Devaney now gathers and plays a good ball wide to this near side, and Mitchell infield towards Eze again. The challenge comes in though from Timber. Is a good one. Partey, such an open game this, 29 minutes played, 1-1 on Talksport, and then a terrific challenge again by Lerma. Lerma with the high diagonal looking for Eze, left hand side of the penalty area. Eze in towards Nketiah. Can he turn and shoot? He can, and it's deflected over the top by Kivior when Nketiah looks certain to score.
Wow, Crystal Palace have certainly come to try and get something, if not all 3 points out of this game. Brilliant play from Lerma, first with the tackle, then with the ball. Eze not able to bring it down. I'll tell you what, Eddie Nketiah has taken a touch with his back to goal, 6 yards out. Looks like he's going to go one way. I'm not sure Kiri actually knows what's happening. He's just stuck his leg out.
Goal-saving challenge though, because that was going in.
Absolutely. He's put his leg, he's twisted round, but realised what Eddie Nketiah is going to do with his left foot. Got a vital deflection.
Called his play short to Wharton into the near post, fisted away, comes out to Nketiah, who tries to curl it this time and just shape it towards the top corner, and it's over the top. But Arsenal have lost their way in this game. Half an hour played, 1-1.
They most definitely have, and I tell you what, Crystal Palace are the team on top right now. And when you're on top, you try and get that next goal. It would make things interesting if they were able to do that, but 1-1, you're absolutely right, Nige. He doesn't flatter Palace at all.
Well, these two teams are the set-piece specialists in the Premier League, and they both scored their 16th set-piece goal of the season here tonight. Trossard now for Arsenal, who's coming deeper and deeper from the central striker role to try and get on the ball. Now Lewis Skelly. Martinelli. Odegaard is the furthest player forward at the moment, a very false 9.
Well, it's Odegaard and Declan Rice.
Partey. And I know there will be some different personnel next Tuesday, but if Arsenal defend like this against Paris Saint-Germain, it could be very interesting.
Yeah, I do think the mentality will be a little bit different. You know, I was here for the Madrid game and they were absolutely spot on pretty much from the very first second. I'm not saying they weren't here, and obviously they got that early goal. Just wonder if they just relaxed a little bit. I don't know, Palace is certainly causing them problems.
Now Partey once again. Infield towards Saliba, and Palace are happy to drop deep. Having scored the equalising goal recently through Eberechi Eze. And although Arsenal scored with their first attempt, the header from Jakub Kivior, they've had a shot wide from Declan Rice as Ødegaard plays it forward looking for Trossard, cleared as far as Sterling. Palace have had 3 or 4 really presentable opportunities alongside the goal they've scored from Eze. Now Trossard. Finding Ødegaard once again. And we mentioned Arsenal's goal-scoring issues recently. Well, they need at least 2 goals in this game to maintain what's been some excellent home form this season as Mitchell plays it down the line, but it took a deflection and it will be a throw-in for Crystal Palace once again with 12 minutes to play in the first half. And I think both coaches will be pretty miffed about the manner of the defending for the goals they've conceded from set pieces.
Yeah, I think Oliver Glasner will be thinking, how on earth do we concede that really poor, simple free kick in? Apart from that, they've been very good indeed. So you're right, it's not a great goal for Arsenal to concede either, but I'm very impressed with Palace tonight. They're the ones who've made more change in terms of what I would expect their strongest 11 to be. They've got the game, most important game, first, and yet they've been absolutely spot on apart from the first 5 minutes.
Arsenal coming forward again now with Ødegaard, and the low ball in from Rice is deflected, but it's gone behind for a goal kick in the end. Maxime Lacroix was there to make the challenge. Dean Henderson picked the ball out of the net in the 3rd minute, but hasn't had a huge amount to do after that.
No, he hasn't. Nate and I were discussing about the 3-4-2-1 of Crystal Palace against Manchester United. And one thing I would say is that actually Ruben Amorim hasn't really got an excuse on is defensively Palace look much better organised. It was much more difficult to try and cut through them. The goal they conceded was a free kick, and they will be disappointed with that, but just in open play they look much more solid than Manchester United should, and without the ball there's no real excuse for United.
And Nketiah receives it now from Mitchell, and he is loving being back at the Emirates here. He's playing really well. Now Munoz on the right hand side, back towards Lerma. And we mentioned a midfielder playing in the back 3, but he's got that ability to carry the ball out as well, which is causing Arsenal 1 or 2 issues. Now Kamada, who has dropped very deep. And let's drop forward looking for Nketiah again, but Rice will get there first, and it's all the way back towards David Raya. 10 minutes to play in what's been a thoroughly entertaining game so far here at the Emirates Stadium on Talksport. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 1. A reminder, if Palace win this game, Liverpool win the league tonight. And we have seen Palace create one really great chance to go 2-1 up after the equaliser from Eberechi Eze. Ødegaard now on the near side, just in front of Oliver Glasner, who was micromanaging from the edge of the Palace technical area.
Not seen enough of Ødegaard, to be honest with you. I want to see a little bit more of him. We talked about Sterling's trying to get on the ball and make something happen. Declan Rice is trying to do the same as well, but Ødegaard, Martinelli, Trossard is a little bit more difficult, playing as that sort of number 9, false 9, dropping in. But Ødegaard should be able to find a little bit more space, and Martinelli should be absolutely screaming for the ball. Miles Lewis-Skelly as well. He's been quite quiet so far.
Now Saliba, almost midway inside the Palace half. Partey has been fouled by Nketiah. It will be a free kick here.
And this is where I'm talking about where they look much better organised than, say, a Ruben Amorim Manchester United. You know, Arsenal are pass, but they're not able to break them down at the moment.
Lewis-Skelly with a break into the area. But he's quickly halted, and they will play it long downfield. Palace looking for Nketiah, but it's tidied up nicely by Kivior. And here now is Trossard down the right. He comes in field, he's clipped by Eze, and it will be a free kick. But again, it's a bit laboured from Arsenal.
Yeah, and look, again, I want to give a compliment here to Glasner and Palace. They know when to press, when not to press. They know where to position themselves and where they just need to be. There must be a lot of communication going on. Just very impressed with them without the ball, Crystal Palace.
And you're listening to Arsenal against Crystal Palace on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Making a big move or planning a clear out with vans of all shapes and sizes. If you've got a plan, they've got a van. Declan Rice over the free kick here, which is about 5 or 6 yards in from touch on this near side, the right. 7 minutes to play in the first half here on Talksport. 1-1 at the Emirates Stadium. Swung in by Rice towards the near post, and it's cleared away by Gahey under no real pressure.
No, he's rubbish at free kicks, Declan Rice.
Yeah. Flash in the pan. Well, what he did here twice in that game against Real Madrid was quite extraordinary. Now Odegaard back towards Saliba, and again Palace are just happy to sit in and set Arsenal the challenge of breaking them down. And Glasner now forcing his team out as Arsenal retreat to the halfway line. So we talk about teams being extremely well drilled, and they are extremely well drilled, but they've also got that threat, and they've got that moment of quality as well.
Yeah, this is a perfect example of what Oliver Glasner wants from his side. Without the ball, to be really well organised, know when to press or not to press, and if you're going to go as a team. Let them go off the ball at times, just drop off. Other times, really try to get your foot in, and then really go forward. And they've done that tonight. They've been really impressive. Again, apart from up until the first goal in the first few minutes.
Kivior with an extraordinary run there. Seemed to have lost the ball to Munoz, then got up, rode about 3 challenges, and then gave the ball away. And then Gahey slides in to win it back in the centre circle. And Martin Salisbury's allowed play to continue. It was Sterling who has gone down.
Play on.
And eventually it is played out, but of course there was no onus on Palace to play that ball out, but it's because Sterling was down in the centre circle as the goals continue to fly in at Kingsmeadow in the WSL. Ian Abrahams.
Leaders Chelsea 4, Palace are bottom nil. Mia Fischel has got the 4 of the corner, which she turned in from close range. Chelsea 4, Palace 0, midway through the second half.
You've seen the replay. Was that a foul by Gahey?
No, it wasn't a foul. The referee's there. It's a good, honest tackle. I want to see a few more of those, but even the Arsenal players didn't really claim for a tackle, but it's not a head injury. Play on. And I don't know what the Palace players are doing. I'm too nice.
Lacroix playing the ball out towards this near side of Mitchell, who comes in field, dropped off to Gahey on the halfway line. Now Kamada, and again Nketiah is making some very good runs, often not seen, but now a high ball forward looking for Devenny. Raya, though, will allow the ball to dribble behind, and it will be a goal kick.
I do feel, though, Nige, that Palace are pretty much on top at the moment, and Arsenal are going to be a lot better in the second half. If they can try and nick a goal just before half-time, it really will put the pressure on these Arsenal players.
And it's currently Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 1. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes right now. Arsenal are 4-3 on, Palace 17-4. The draw 21-10. All thanks to Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org. Now Wharton on the edge of the penalty area for Palace, and Lerma will spread it wide towards Daniel Munoz, player who has really settled into this system and does give Palace a real threat going forward down the right hand side, as Trossard is held up by a combination of Wharton and Eze. But now Timber with the opportunity to attack the penalty area into Trossard, turning onto the left foot, low shot from him, and Leandro Trossard comes up with the goal. Just when it seemed that Arsenal were beginning to run out of ideas, the trickery of Leandro Trossard just finding half a yard of space inside the penalty area, and he rolled in his 10th goal of the season, and it's Arsenal 2, Palace 1.
Well, it seems incredible to say, but it's against the run of play. Yes, Arsenal have had all the possession, but it's Crystal Palace who have been directing this game both with and without the ball. And that goal came from absolutely nowhere. And we talked about the organisational strength of Crystal Palace. Well, I just feel they just dropped off too much. They didn't get tight. And by the time Trossard's got the touch, and then a second touch as well, yes, there's a deflection there, and Dean Henderson diving to his left, but can't allow that to go in. He's shooting on his third touch. He's on the edge of the box in front of goal. By the time he takes that first touch, bang, he should be there. And they'll be disappointed. 3 centre-halves and not one of them around him.
3 goals in 2 games for Leandro Trossard after 2 at Portman Road on Sunday. 8 now in the Premier League this season. Took a big deflection off Jefferson Lerma. But having praised the organisation and the durability of Palace, it all rather melted away there.
Yeah, I wonder whether Oliver Glasner was trying to tell his players to push up at that particular time. We're following the ball, but certainly wouldn't have been happy with that.
Trossard coming forward down the left. First time ball in looking for Sterling. And it's hammered over his own crossbar by Lerma. And it will be an Arsenal corner.
And just as I was saying that Crystal Palace being on top need to try and get the goal, now they almost need to get to half-time to make sure they're only 1 behind. 3-1. I'm sorry, I did not see them coming back from this. Arsenal have been given a kick up the backside, and now they're 2-1 up. So important moments now for Crystal Palace.
Declan Rice will take the corner kick again. It will be an in-swinger. Martinelli, Partey, Trossard and Timber all gathered way beyond the far post. They will then head into the penalty area to try and cause some chaos here. They're joined by Kivior. 5 Arsenal players now make tracks towards the far post. Trossard with a header across the face of goal. It may come all the way out towards Rice, but it's won back well by Eze. Quickly forward to Nketiah, who is heavily outnumbered, but he gets there before Sterling. Sterling makes the challenge, and Nketiah, though, strong enough to ride that. He finds Debeni. Wharton now driving forward for Palace. Wide towards the left-hand side, and Mitchell. It's a good break, this. Needs a good cross. Mitchell's delivery into the penalty area. He may get a second bite at the cherry. Given back to him by Partey. And now Kamada inside the penalty area. It'll come out to Gahey. Tries to curl it, and it's blocked by Kivior's knee, and it spins away on the far side. Now Lerma again. And Eze. 25 seconds of normal time to play at the end of the first half here on Talksport at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1, but the scoreline maybe doesn't quite tell the story of the first half. Gahey. And now Lacroix. Palace have played some excellent football, but they've switched off defensively twice. But now Gahey with a high ball over, and there'll be a minimum of 2 more minutes as it's gathered by David Raya.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it? There's been 3 shots on target in this game and 3 goals. And while Arsenal have had pretty much double the amount of possession, it's Palace who have had 7 shots to Arsenal's 4. Which goes to show they've been quite happy to be without the ball. Well, they have created chances. Oliver Glasner will be so disappointed that they're going in to half-time a goal behind. At the very least it should be level, if not them being one up top. Or even one ahead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Quizzical look from Adrian, but we'll carry on.
His shoulders are still going up and down.
He's still worried about that barber, I think. Now Trossard. Infield again towards Timber. Palace again looking to push out, and that's when they look at their best, really. Oh, it's been given away by Raya. and Wharton tried to sweep that ball in from 40 yards and it hit Partey. Now at the other end, Martinelli chasing forward, and Henderson came out towards the edge of his box. Martinelli was offside anyway, but at the other end, that was a real gift from Raya, but Devaney unable to capitalise.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Adam Wharton, right idea, and with his left foot, he's certainly good enough to do it technically. Was it Timbo who made the block? Raya was completely out of his goal.
Now Gahey into Nketiah again, who's got room to turn away from Rice. Good play from him. Rice makes the challenge, and it will be a Palace free kick right at the end of the first half here. About 40 yards from goal, and it's a yellow card for Declan Rice.
Well, he obviously felt that he had to do it, but I don't think he did really. I think he's just gone into him. Eddie Nketiah's got the touch, did the right thing, gone down, and perhaps they would have liked it a bit more left of centre rather than right of centre for Eze's. We know he's capable of wonderful strikes. Well, this is a big moment.
Eze over this free kick. It's a long way out, right of centre, but again, that was a really good pick-up from Nketiah, and the way he spun just committed that Arsenal back four, got them backpedaling, and that's why Rice had to come in and make the challenge. And it's only Nketiah's 8th Premier League start of the season, but he's done well so far. Free kick, which Eze will clip high into the penalty area. Nodded clear, and that is half-time. Well, it's been a really good game to watch. Arsenal ahead in the 3rd minute. The header from Jakub Kiwior. The equaliser, a volley from the edge of the penalty area from Eberechi Eze, direct from a corner. But just before half-time, Leandro Trossard given too much time to turn inside the area, and his low shot deflecting beyond Dean Henderson. So, at the moment, Liverpool won't be celebrating tonight, and this could be a morale-boosting victory for Arsenal before the game coming up next week. Half-time, Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1.
Well, a morale-boosting victory it may well turn out to be for the Gunners, but it's with the help of some extremely generous defending from Crystal Palace. As you said on the second goal, Scott Minto, 3 centre-halves for Palace, none of them anywhere near it. The same could be said of Kiwior heading in the first goal for Arsenal. 3 centre-halves on the pitch, none of them anywhere near the ball or the goal scorer. And they have conceded some very sloppy goals in recent games. More of the same from Palace tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been so many things to be impressed about them, both with and without the ball. They look dangerous going forwards, and Nketiah's movement has been good. Eze, when he's on the ball, just looks class. The whole pitch and the players seem to just slow down to his way of playing. And again, defensively, the organisation at times looks superb, and Arsenal were pass, we can't get through, let's go back. Arsenal crowd moaning a little bit, and then suddenly that happens. I mean, that first goal to concede, I mean, how is he completely free? I don't know. So that was bad enough in itself, but with the open play, and we've just sort of given them lots of credit as to how difficult they are to break down. And you just said it yourself, we've both said it now, 3 centre-halves, no one around him, takes a touch, takes a second touch, and by the time he takes the third touch, there's a deflection, so they're still not able to properly stop the shot. And that's the disappointing thing, giving Dean Henderson no chance.
I was looking at Eberechi Eze's numbers this season. They're not particularly great. You would expect them to be a little bit better. That's his 4th goal of the Premier League season. He's got 8 assists as well, and this is his 30th game. I would expect those numbers to be higher than that, particularly with the second half of the season that Palace have had. But what he did do very well was improvise with a ball that was at a very difficult height to get a proper shot away, and I thought his athleticism to do that, I mean, I popped a groin just looking at him. He did really well, but there's no way he should be unmarked.
No, absolutely not. And yeah, get a bit of ice on that, Aid, by the way.
Yeah, cheers.
First of all, again, defensively poor. How has he got so much space? And the ball wasn't sort of pinged to him almost Roberto Carlos like to David Beckham. It was kind of chipped to him. And yet still, okay, people read it in the end, but they weren't tight enough to stop it. So that was terrible defending in itself, but the technique that he's got, and as you say, the athleticism for him to get his leg up so high, to keep it down. Okay, it wasn't necessarily the sweetest of strikes because it bounced down, but at least it meant he got on top of the ball, so it was always going to be on target. And then because it was just inside the near post, and maybe David Raya saw it late going through a loads of players, then he had no chance either. 3 poor goals really to concede, but I think we've got more goals coming in the second half. I really do.
Just a word about Adam Wharton, because there was a pass that he made. I'm not sure if you saw it, but it was actually right in front of us, and he was surrounded by Arsenal players, and the ball came to him. He's facing where we are, facing the Arsenal fans. The ball goes to his feet, and he just pops it around the corner. He's got no right to have that kind of vision, and it goes right into the path. I think it was Kamada who went right in the path. A sensation. It was a world-class pass. Something like none of us could see that pass. He couldn't see it, and yet he executed it perfectly. This is some footballer, isn't it?
Do you know what? He's a big talent. I think once he's 100% fit and back to bossing games again, I expect him to be not just in the England squad, but be very close to a starting 11. It's going to be interesting to see whether he can get into it or not. Do you know how he saw it? Because he knew what he was going to do before he even received the ball. He looked around to see where everyone was. So where suddenly the ball's going to it, you're thinking, what's he going to do now? He's going to take a touch. No, the top players, especially the midfielders, know what they're going to do before they even receive it. They've seen the picture. They've scanned what's around, so they know what to do. And suddenly you think, well, how did he see that? Well, he saw that before the ball was even played to him. So again, only top-class players can do that, and he's a top-class talent.
It reminded me of Cesc Fabregas, who obviously graced this stadium.
Yeah, very much so.
It was absolutely terrific. Quick word on Trossard, because he cupped his ear to the fans, almost like he's saying, why aren't you talking about me? Well, I think it's only his 8th Premier League goal of the season. That's probably why. Then they started singing his name, Trossard again, lay. I mean, what's he trying to say? I should be starting every single game. Get me in the starting lineup for PSG. I'll do the business. Do they really trust him that much?
I don't really know what he's trying to say with that. I mean, really, when you do that, you're kind of having a little bit of a pop at the fans. Maybe a couple of times there, he felt when he lost the ball that there were some groans and he wasn't happy about it, or maybe he's trying to get them going. But if you're going to get them going, you don't put your hand to your ear. You kind of wave your arms and say, come on, let's have some more. So I don't get it. I don't know why, but he certainly answered in the best possible way. And I think that was, in terms of this particular game and Arsenal getting 3 points, that was a really crucial goal just before half-time.
It was. Arsenal lead 2-1. Breakfast tomorrow's with Alan Brazil and Gabby Agbon. Lahore's Premier League record is still intact. He's happy. Among their guests will be Noel Gallagher, who used to be in a band. Ian Holloway, Swindon manager. They were 3 points above the relegation zone in League 2 when he was appointed. They're now 19 points above the relegation zone. Barry Hearn is also on the show as well. Live exclusive Premier League football on Talksport tonight. Arsenal lead Palace by 2-1, and Liverpool's title party is on hold.
Kick off on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
You could skydive out of a plane or swim with sharks. You might even skinny dip in icy cold waters. Or you could get that inexpressible high, that guaranteed rush from finding just the thing you wanted, the thing you needed, at a great sale price. Sale ends soon. IKEA. The wonderful everyday.
The season is shaping up, and whether they're going for glory or going down, it's all to play for. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals! With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League 2, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. You've finally found that perfect parking spot and you're ready to start work. But wait, you need a replacement part that's not in your van. Don't sweat it and don't move the van. Get moving on your job and we'll sprint over with exactly what you need before you can say, where's my spirit level? Screwfix Sprint delivers in as little as 20 minutes. Only $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
A Minecraft movie has arrived in McDonald's Happy Meal. Help your little ones build their own adventure. Explore the overworld and meet exciting new friends. Some fun, some food, it's all inside this Happy Meal. Until 6th of May from 11 a.m. Includes one pre-selected book or toy. While stocks last, fair ordering policy applies. See mcdonalds.co.uk/Happy Meal.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. You tuck in and drink up. Village Hotels, 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities. And a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Sipping a morning coffee out on the terrace. Good morning, Mr. Squirrel.
Morning.
The kids building a treehouse in the garden.
I'm living my perfect childhood.
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
At Betfair, we relish the plot twists that football's tense run-in delivers. With titles, promotions and relegations on the line, the form book can take a back seat and the drama has the power to rewrite scripts. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on Accas or Bet Builders on football this week. Betfair. Play different.
Opt-in and previous deposit required. Valid for 72 hours on Football Accas or Bet Builders. Min combined odds of 1.5. T's and C's apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
Kick off on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now. 18 plus. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
It's the totally immersive football experience.
And it's got in! Would you believe it?
The biggest and best football on the radio. Game night on Talksport.
He gets towards the edge of the box and sends a cross into Havertz, who gets there and scores, rising high above Donnarumma. And Arsenal are here not just to make the numbers up, but to compete. The ball has gone towards the near post. It's missed by Martinelli, snuffled away in. It's another set-piece goal. It's a Saka goal. It's an Arsenal goal.
Arsenal arrive in the Champions League group phase with a stellar victory over a stellar opponent. Arsenal 2, PSG 0.
Well, they did both legs against Real Madrid. Fair play to Arsenal for that. Absolutely destroyed them here at the Emirates and then doubled them, winning the second leg in the Bernabeu. Talksport was there. Next Tuesday we'll be here for Arsenal against PSG. First leg of the semi-final. Can they go again? Can they win the semi-final and get to their second ever Champions League final? What a season it's been in Europe for Arsenal so far. But ultimately, you only really remember it if you get the job done. So let's see if Arsenal can do it. They're in front here tonight in the Premier League against Palace. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Get money back as a free bet up to £10 if one leg of your Football 5 Plus acca lets you down. Pre-match straight-line accas only. Odds of 3-1 or greater. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
It's Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1 at half-time. Arsenal 6-1 on to win. The draw is 5-1. Palace to win at 18-1. Martinelli to score anytime 4-1. Munoz to get booked 7-2. Latest odds there with Ladbrokes 18 plus. BigGambleAware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. Supercharge your odds with our Odds Boost button. Selected markets applies to first £50 of stake. Terms apply. 18 plus gambleaware.org.
The drive tomorrow is from Jack Wilshere's Golf Day. Jack in charge of Norwich till the end of the season after they sack their manager. They've got 2 of the 3 top scorers in the championship mid-table, not going up or down. There will be a whole load of special guests on the show with Andy Goldstein and Darren Bent from 4 tomorrow. And Drive Friday is live from the Ben Eubank weigh-in, and that fight is free to listen to on Talksport Saturday night. There's a watch-along as well on the Talksport Boxing YouTube channel, and all of our usual boxing experts will be on duty. Plus, we're privileged to be joined by a man who got in the ring against Ben Senior and Eubank Senior. Two-weight world champ Steve Collins joins the Talksport team as ever. Boxing done properly on the Talksport network and on the Talksport Boxing YouTube channel as well. Scott Minto, just looking at those odds, seeing Palace long to win the game, 18-1, but Arsenal are surely going to be making subs in this second half, you would think.
I don't think he'll be making them right now. I don't think he'll necessarily be making them sort of 60 minutes. I think he won't play everybody 90 minutes. He will make substitutions, but he wants to get the game done. I mean, look, okay, if you look at the games that they've got left, obviously the Bournemouth game comes in between the PSG game. Liverpool away, Arsenal, Newcastle at home are not easy ones. They've got Southampton last game of the season if they do need an extra 3 points. But if they are able to get 3 points tonight, they're on 69. City are on 61. Nottingham Forest are more worried about 5th and 2nd. And then there's only really Newcastle who are in with a shout, and they need to go on an amazing run as well. I think it's really important to get the 3 points, and those back-to-back victories following amazing performances against Real Madrid, for me, cement second spot.
It's interesting, the bench for Arsenal. There's a few youngsters there you may not have heard of. Jack Henry Francis, 21-year-old midfielder that they took from Fulham at the age of 12, highly thought of. Nathan Butler-Oyeji is a striker. I think he's played already in the Champions League for Arsenal. Came on as a sub. 22 years old now. Ismail Kabir, who's played in the League Cup, the Carabao Cup. Jimmy Gower's an interesting one, 20-year-old midfielder. I know they really like him. And he was playing alongside Ranieri and Lewis Skelly when Arsenal made the FA Youth Cup final 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago this week, actually. They lost on this ground to West Ham. They took the lead and lost 5-1. And sometimes, it's about having setbacks early in your career and how you recover. And boy, how has Miles Lewis Skelly recovered from that. He now looks like an established Premier League first teamer for the Gunners, who's in a Champions League semi-final, and even looks like an England's international as well. He's not bad.
Nothing wrong with losing an FA Youth Cup final.
You did that to Coventry, didn't you?
I did that back in 1987, yeah.
Yeah, how'd you feel? You all right? Are you over it?
Just about. Just about.
Was it your fault?
No.
You were too young to play in that one.
I was 15.
You played in it.
I was at school in the morning.
You had to get permission, didn't you?
I had to get permission off school
Were you 15 or 16?
15. Yeah.
Wow.
August birthday. That's why I got a geography D. O level. That's what I say, and I'm sticking to it.
Like a positional sense.
Yes, exactly. Very good, Nigel. Like
He's on fire tonight. He's ripped into me. Now ripped into you.
He is.
Unbelievable. Can we rip into him in the second half, please?
I resent that remark.
Arsenal get into a huddle at the start of this second half. We're about to get underway. Live and exclusive on Talksport. Liverpool's listening. It's Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. Here's Scott Minto and Nigel Adderley.
Thanks, Adrian. Don't look to be any changes at the start of the second half. So we'll wait and see who makes way and what conclusions we can maybe draw from that for Saturday and Tuesday. As Arsenal get the game underway, leading by 2-1, attacking the goal away to our left. Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Kivior and Lewis Skelly, Rice and Partey, Sterling, Odegaard, Martinelli and Trossard. Of course, Bukayo Saka among those on the bench. Henderson in goal, Lacroix, Lerma and Gahey, the Palace back three. Munoz, Wharton, Kamada and Mitchell, with Devaney and Eze supporting Nketiah. It's been a really interesting game, as the mistake was made there by Timber, but he got away with it, ricocheted off his heel, and now the cross in from Sterling, which is cleared away inside the 6-yard area. That all came from a miscontrol from Urin Timber, which seemed to allow a Palace breakaway, but it broke down quickly and Arsenal almost got the opportunity at the other end.
You did well to see that, Nigel, all these people coming down in front of us.
Yes. The concourses are evacuating all around us here, which means people make their way late to their seats at the start of the second half. But looking around the stadium, they aren't the only ones.
No. Well, there are 60-odd thousand who went for a drink, something to eat.
It's Palace, who conceded early, equalised and then conceded late in the first half. Bring it forward now. They quickly give the ball away. Sterling. Now Saliba on the halfway line. Of course, the scenario we've all been looking at is that if Palace win, Liverpool win the league, but with Arsenal going back ahead now, those hopes on Merseyside seem to recede this evening as Palace get the first yellow card in the second half. Miles Lewis Skelly, the player who was caught by with the retreating Devaney. The Northern Ireland internationals in the book.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure it was a yellow card, but he certainly came in almost from a side angle, and that's what I want to see Miles Lewis-Skelly do. Didn't really do it much in the first half. Get on the ball, get those driving runs in. You know, we know he's certainly through the academy as a central midfielder, but he's just been sensational as a left back. I've said this before and I'll say it again. He has the chance to be winning 100 caps for England, but it will be at left back if he decides he wants to be that.
Ødegaard over the free kick on this near side. The Arsenal left, of course, they scored from a very similar situation early in the first half. This time it's fisted away by Henderson, not conclusively. The shot is cleared off the line, not once but twice. And in the end, it's hammered away to safety by Lacroix on the far side, and Henderson is down.
But that's poor goalkeeping, in my opinion. The ball's come in. It's not even a particularly well whipped in cross. He's just got to be shouting, screaming, so everybody just gets out the way. And in the end, he's come into his own defender. And they just about got away with that one, didn't they? As you say, not once but twice. Able to clear the ball away, but shouts. There's Eddie Nketiah, who's trying to do a job for his team defensively. Just scream. He clearly didn't. And in the end, he's clashed into his own teammate and got away with that one. 3-1, I'm sorry, the game is over, and I do see substitutions being made. But 2-1, still not quite sure which way this is going to go.
And Nketiah did really well looking at the replay, because Trossard, I think, would have scored. Henderson, the player who was down, and of course any sort of injury like this is rubbing his shoulder, well, spark concerns for Palace on and off the field with the game coming up on Saturday at Wembley.
Well, that's true. Obviously there's Matt Turner who can come off the bench and even play on Saturday, but Dean Henderson, without doubt, the number one, so they want to make sure that he's okay.
And you're listening to Arsenal against Crystal Palace on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract now, like this game, live right now, and you can search Now Sports and Alan Brazil and Gabriel Bonlahor on Talksport Breakfast tomorrow morning from 6. Among their guests, Noel Gallagher. I wonder if they'll be asking for Oasis tickets this summer. Not quite sure. Anyway, Henderson back on his feet. Clears long downfield. 5 minutes into the second half here at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal leading by 2-1. Not exactly good value for it on their first half showing, but with the opportunity now to push on in the second half. Partey on the halfway line. Wide towards Ødegaard. And now Saliba, that familiar pattern from Palace. They will drop very deep now, all within 15 or 20 yards of their penalty area, to try and invite the Arsenal press, and then they look to spring out quickly. It worked effectively at times in the first half, but Arsenal seem to have got wise to it this time. Now Saliba again. A reminder, Arsenal, Paris Saint-Germain next Tuesday here in the first leg of the Champions League semi-final. And they've got some difficult league games to come. They've got Newcastle here, along with Bournemouth. They've also got to go to Liverpool. Finish off with Southampton on the final day. So whatever happens in Europe, they will still have some business to take care of at home.
That's why I think tonight is so important. You know, what we're seeing now, though, is Arsenal pass, not really sort of getting anywhere, but they don't have to, because they're the team that's in the lead. In the first half, up until that goal from Leandro Trossard, it was pass at 1-1, and the Arsenal fans were getting a little bit frustrated.
Now Saliba in towards Ødegaard. He has support from Kivior, and Lewis-Skelly takes over. Ødegaard once again. And Arsenal at the moment dominating the early stages of the second half. They really should have scored. I don't think David Raya has touched the ball since half-time. Partey now. Finding Ødegaard. Trossard. Appeals for a free kick as the challenge comes in from Lacroix on the edge of the penalty area, but just seem to be coming together, and Henderson will clear downfield. It's full time in the Women's Super League at Kingsmeadow. Here's Talksport's Ian Abrahams.
Chelsea 4, Palace 0. Chelsea extend their lead at the top to 6 points. Goal in each half from Katerina Macario, Gurrighton penalty, and Mia Fisher with the goals. It means Palace, if they lose to West Ham on Sunday at Sutton, will be relegated. As for Chelsea, 6 clear with 3 to play. Chelsea 4, Palace 0.
Thanks, Ian. Palace looking to build here, trailing by 2-1. 7 minutes into the second half here on Talksport. And we'll have all the angles covered in the Premier League, the FA Cup and the EFL across the weekend, along with the UEFA Women's Super League as well. So many issues can be sorted out up and down the Football League at the weekend. Some huge games, particularly at the bottom of the Championship, and some big clubs looking to avoid a trip down to the lower divisions.
Easter's a great weekend, isn't it? Easter Friday, Easter Monday, bang bang.
Yes.
Suddenly you think, oh well, that's happened, and they're out of it, and they're in it, and suddenly Monday, almost the reverse happens.
Well, we've got Luton Coventry coming up 12:30 on Talksport 2. Luton, of course, in the bottom 3, having been relegated from the Premier League last season. Coventry looking to nail down a playoff place, but they lost at Plymouth on Monday. And your old club, Charlton, with a humongous game at Wrexham.
Absolutely. Brilliant result against Wycombe. They've been on a great run since before Christmas. And they sneak in.
Well, odds against, but you never know at this stage of the season. Some funny things can happen. Trossard. And now Partey inside the centre circle for Arsenal. And the game is rather in a holding pattern at the moment, with Arsenal keeping the ball and Palace just basically sitting in looking to soak up pressure.
Yeah, there's no pressure on Arsenal now. They're in the ascendancy in terms of the scoreline. They're 2-1 up. And they can just turn around and say, okay, well, we'll keep passing it. There's no pressure on us. You've got to try and get the ball back on us. Obviously, Crystal Palace are waiting, biding their time, waiting for that moment they can nick the ball, and they've showed enough times in the first half they can be very dangerous, but it's Arsenal in control.
Lewis Skelly almost played in by Rice on the edge of the penalty area, but this is the opportunity now for Palace to break down the centre, and Ketia, a very impressive run forward, but just shows too much of that to Saliba, with Eze in space on the left, and it's guided back towards Rare again, but Ketia there, almost too quick for the ball.
Yeah, and that's what they want, though. They're able to get the ball back, and then suddenly, bang, there's 2 players, and he just overran it. You see him trying to just do a little bit of skills to do that. Really running at full pelt's not easy, but just letting Arsenal know, just need to be careful on that counter-attack.
Trossard has a throw-in on the far side. It's left in the end for Urin Timber. And Arsenal do have plenty of depth and options in the full-back areas at the moment. Ben White not fit enough for this game. So Timber able to slot in once again, and Mars Lewis Skelly once again ahead of Alexander Zinchenko. Well, we've talked about a lack of a striker, and of course they've been really hit by those injuries to Gabriel Jesus and Kai Havertz, but elsewhere this is a very well balanced Arsenal squad as Lewis Skelly comes forward now, still only 18 years of age, of course.
Big season for Arteta, isn't it? If he doesn't win the Champions League this year and finishes second, there comes a point where you're knocking at the door. I still think you keep on knocking at the door, and eventually you'll get there, and I do think it will be their season in the Premier League next season. But if it's not, it will be interesting to see whether the Arsenal hierarchy still keep on believing in him.
Well, it's undoubted progress, because I remember standing on the touchline talking to him. I think it would have been the autumn of 2021, after they'd lost 5-0 at Manchester City. It had been absolutely terrible, and he'd been there then for nearly 2 years. And I said to him, where's the progress? And he said, there is progress, and ultimately he's been proved right, but it takes time, and it's not as if Arsenal were winning loads of things before he arrived.
No, and I think, I personally think that Manchester City, not just the Premier League era, but probably the greatest English club side we've seen. Again, very subjective. Obviously, the Liverpool side of the 80s.
There'll be a few Liverpool fans who'll be disagreeing with that.
Of the early 80s, of course. Remember them very well. And there'll be a few Manchester United fans that will disagree with that as well. So it's a very subjective thing, but certainly what there is no doubt is one of the greatest teams that we've seen. To finish second, I think it's just very harsh to say you've not been good enough, you're a loser if you don't actually win the title. But there comes a point where this was meant to be their season. It's not, so next season has to be.
Cross into the penalty area here for Palace, and Raya palms the ball away, not conclusively, and Lerma slides in on Martinelli at the far post, and it goes behind for a goal kick. And David Raya's having one of those evenings where he's not quite convincing.
It's one of those games where he's not touching the ball too much, and the sign of a top-class goalkeeper, normally, because normally he is that when he's been asked to be called upon, he does it really well, and he didn't there. He absolutely flapped at the cross. I just wonder if it's a lack of concentration. You don't see that happen in playing against PSG.
Going back to your earlier point, I think Arsenal are almost football's version of Andy Murray. Had one or two people not been there, they'd have won a hell of a lot.
Yeah.
But then again, I suppose Jurgen Klopp could say the same about Liverpool.
Yes, he could, absolutely.
Martinelli coming forward now. High ball towards the far post, and it's glanced away by Mitchell. I don't think he intended to put the ball behind for a corner, but that's where it's gone, and we're about to see changes made. And Bukayo Saka is coming on for Arsenal, so he'll get at least half an hour here.
Interesting, really interesting. I did sort of think, what's the point of him being on the bench if he's not able to play, say, 45 minutes, but now he is able to play half an hour. And again, I think it's good. He's still trying. It seems incredible to say, considering how good he was against Real Madrid in both games, but he might be able to argue, I'm still not quite 100% match fit yet. So again, just getting more minutes, and I can tell you now from personal experience, Nigel, that Tyreek Mitchell will be thinking, I've just seen off Raheem Sterling, oh no, look who's coming on.
Well, Saka yet to score a Premier League goal since his return from injury. His last goal was at the end of November, but his numbers this season are sensational. 6 goals and 11 assists in only 20 games in the Premier League. Corner kick whipped in, fisted away by Henderson. And Palace with the opportunity to come forward now with Kamada. Infield towards Eze, but he's unable to gather. And the retreating Rice will go all the way back towards Saka once again. And Arsenal will be facing 2 new players very soon. Ismaila Sarr and Will Hughes, 2 of the players left out by Oliver Glasner tonight, will be coming on.
Well, I get that. I can understand why they didn't start. We could have even made more changes, but the way the second half has gone, again, that 2-1 goal, I think has made such a difference psychologically for both sides. And Palace, not necessarily playing in a dissimilar way, but they're just a little bit more passive without the ball and not looking as dangerous when they counter-attack as they were in the first half.
Well, Sarr will certainly help that. Now Lewis Skelly. Infield towards Kivior. Swirled forward seeking out Martinelli, but Wharton will clear, but almost gives it away to Partey, but Wharton gets it back and then does give the ball away to Rice. And here is Partey coming forward again here. Saka in space on the right, but it's to Trossard on the left, and then Lerma once again doing well to win it, driving out now with the help of Munoz and Ketia midway inside the Palace half. Wharton's got the opportunity to turn, but his ball forward hits Ødegaard, bounces kindly for Palace into the path of Guehi. Both teams have been giving the ball with regularity, giving the ball away with regularity recently, as Deveni now finds Eze, who may be one of the players about to come off. Saliba heads away on the edge of the Arsenal penalty area, and Partey does well to pull that ball down, juggles slightly, and it's hammered downfield by Timber over the head of Saka, straight out of play. And Palace may get the opportunity to make the changes. And Eberechi Eze will be replaced by Ismaila Sarr. Did score in the 5-1 loss against Arsenal. And Will Hughes, the other player who will come on, and it's Adam Wharton who makes way for him.
Yeah, not surprised at all. Two key players, Eze and Wharton. Not surprised they're not playing the full 90. They've had a good run out. And despite if they were really chasing this game, if this was the cup game at the weekend, there's no way they'd be taken off. But they've had their minutes on the pitch now. They've done their job. Now get ready for Saturday. And not bad, 2 substitutions coming on the pitch.
No, we're yet to see Jean-Philippe Mateta. And as you said with Adrian before kickoff, maybe he's a player who just needs a bit of time on the field again after the injury to really try and get some sort of top form.
Yeah, I would not be surprised. In fact, I probably would have been tempted to have stuck him on as well. There's enough time to try and get into the game. And yeah, just get used to that mask again. I'm not quite sure. He's still a threat. He's still big, powerful, skillful. Still very, very dangerous. But before that injury, he was on fire, wasn't he?
Sarr in pursuit down the left-hand side, but Saliba guides it back to Raya. And Raya almost gave the ball away to Devaney, but it was Partey who showed real calmness there to first of all evade the challenge and then try and bring it forward. 63 minutes played here on Talksport at the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. And we're back in the Championship on Talksport 2 on Friday night. Stoke against Sheffield United, of course. The Blades now looking ahead to the playoffs. Stoke should be safe, but can absolutely guarantee that with a win on Friday. Chelsea-Everton, 12:30 on Saturday, and game day with Reshman. Luton-Coventry is a massive game at both ends of the Championship as well. We'll have a Premier League commentary at 3, and then Crystal Palace against Aston Villa. The first FA Cup semi-final at 5:15 with Adrian, Sam and Dean Ashton. And we have Forest against City coming up, 4:30 live from Wembley on Sunday. Sarr comes forward again now for Palace. Down the left-hand side, crossed into Devaney with a diving header, and he didn't really get hold of it. It looped up, it was tipped over the top by Raya in the end, but Devaney had the chance there just to power the header in low. Looped off his shoulder, but Raya still had to make the save.
Does that come off his shoulder? It's an absolute free header. And instead, he's missed it with his head. It's come off his shoulder. It's kind of looped up, which ended up being a really simple save. Or just tip over for David Raya, but he gets proper contact on that. He's free.
Corner kick into the near post, glanced on by Gahey, turned aside by Raya. That's an excellent save. And Mark Gahey, so close to a second equaliser for Palace there.
Well, from Devaney being 6 yards out free, the ball whipped in. And Gahey, he's ahead of the near post, so it's kind of a flick on. David Raya just needs to dive to his right to make sure he keeps that out. Oliver Glasner, I'll tell you what, the substitutions have already made a bit of a difference, haven't they?
Lacroix up towards the halfway line for Palace, and Ketia again spinning and playing a really good ball in behind. Munoz is quick. Is he quick enough to get this? He is. He's kept the ball in play. The assistant on this near side was just quick enough to keep up with him and see that. Now on the edge of the penalty area, and Ketia unable to gather the cross from Lerma. Arsenal try and play out. Now they've given the ball away, and there's another chance now for Sarr to play in a cross. The overhead kick from Nketiah doesn't come off. Mitchell now at the far post on the left. There's an element of chaos in the Arsenal penalty area at the moment, and Mitchell hammers the ball off Saka behind for a corner.
I'll tell you what, with Eze's goal in the first half, Adrian did his groin, I did my hamstring, but looking at that with that overhead kick, how's your back, Nige?
It wouldn't be good enough to do that. That's why they're there and we're here.
Absolutely.
Corner kick for Palace, having another spell in the game. Deeper this time towards Munoz, who keeps it alive, and it's almost in. How on earth did that miss? Well, Ismaila Sarr was diving in on the goal line once again. David Raya was out to lunch and somehow it evaded the far post.
I'll tell you what, there's no guarantee Arsenal are going to win this game. There is a corner to the far post. Munoz heads it back in. Must be at least half a dozen players there. My goodness me, Ryan misses it completely.
It was Sarr with a header.
Sarr just gets the slightest touch, any more of a touch and it would have gone in. The second time, Oliver Glasner's almost on his knees. Can't believe how his team has not equalised.
But again, David Raya, what was he doing?
I think there's a lot of Arsenal players out here that have just been a little bit off it. And David Raya, certainly one of them. You get the feeling they might just need that third goal just to kill this very resilient Crystal Palace team off.
Midpoint of the second half. Arsenal 2, Palace 1. But again, it's Palace who are in the ascendancy here. And although Arsenal have had long spells where they've been calm, they've been in control, Palace are creating better opportunities with a lot less of the ball, although it was played back towards his own penalty area there by Lerma, and Henderson was out of position, but Palace gather, and now a good ball forward from Hughes, looking for Nketiah, but he's flagged offside. Although there's a wagging finger from Oliver Glasner right behind the assistant Matt Wilks.
Well, I'd like to see that again, because normally we don't see referees' assistants putting their flag up. They normally let it go, especially when it's close. And that would have been a really good attack for Crystal Palace. Well, we were watching a replay of how close Palace went before, and David Raya was not strong there at all, was he? If you don't feel you can catch it, then you make sure you punch it. If you take out a few players, and so be it. Obviously, make sure you punch the ball, not someone. But from a physical point of view, he was a little bit bullied there.
Saliba back towards Kivior, and all the way back towards David Raya. Still plenty of meat on the bones here. 69 minutes played. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. All the goals in the first half. But we often wondered whether this would be maybe a slightly strange game, and it has been in many ways, but it's also been very good to watch as Lewis Skelly comes forward now for Arsenal down their left. The early cross in, Ødegaard's first time shot is blocked inside the penalty area. Palace will scramble the ball away, but it's quickly won back. Trossard clipped wide towards Saka. You'll hear the buzz around the stadium when he gets on the ball. Ødegaard again, finding Timber inside the penalty area, hooks the ball in! And the ball had gone behind before the ball finds the back of the net.
Yeah, I think the referee's assistant is given offside. It's a lovely little dink over the top. I mean, Martin Ødegaard's one of those where he's neat and tidy, but not really created too much. And he got the ball in his own half and played a lovely little 1-2.
I'm not sure.
No, I don't think it is offside. Then he's got the ball on the edge of the box. Well, let's wait and see, because Mark Gay is also claiming that the ball went out.
I thought the ball had gone behind. Timber lobbed it in over the head of Henderson, and it was Martinelli on the goal line. They're checking for disallowed. I don't think that was offside.
What was Dean Henderson doing there? He's just kind of, he's not even put his hands in the air to try and catch it. He's almost thinking that that's definitely gone out. Well, first of all, play to the whistle.
Well, Alex Chilovic is the VAR official. Martinelli putting the ball in almost on the goal line. It was the initial run forward where the flag was raised.
They're saying for offside. I don't think he was offside.
But they could check the offside and then check whether the ball had gone behind, although you would think with the technology they can tell that fairly easily. Well, Dean Henderson is retreating towards the byline to take the free kick, but Michael Salisbury, the referee, is still looking at this, or still being spoken to by Alex Chilovic as well. And they're having a good long look at this.
Nigel, we could be here for another 5-10 minutes, I reckon.
Unless Martinelli was offside, behind Henderson possibly on the goal line, and there was only one player between himself and the goal.
Well, it'd be nice to see a couple of replays of it so we can try and explain which part of it the VAR are looking at. We can't obviously hear VAR.
Well, we're watching it now. Oh, was the ball behind?
Yeah, that looks like it's out, doesn't it?
Yes.
The whole ball. Not even the slightest of the ball in line with the line, which means it's not the whole ball. Well, that looks to me as if that's out.
Well, Alex Chilovic is now talking to the referee, and no, goal kick. The ball had gone behind.
Yeah. Still don't know why it's taken that long.
Well, surely you check that before you check the offside, unless they've got to do it in chronological order.
Yeah, look, but it didn't take that long. I mean, you saw it almost in the first replay. We knew that wasn't offside, and the ball was out, and if that's what the referee's assistant was flagging for, then well done to him. If it's for the offside, then that wasn't the case, so let's give him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, Mark Scholes, the assistant on the far side, did raise the flag very quickly. Now Sarr for Palace on this near side. Back to Munoz. Sarr again. And Lerma twisting and turning down the Palace right. Swings in a high cross, which is beyond everybody apart from Mitchell. And the ball has gone behind this time. And it's a goal kick, although the Palace fans on the far side disagree. And we have 17 minutes to play on Talksport. Arsenal leading 2-1, so Liverpool will have to win the league, or try to win the league against Spurs on Sunday as it stands. And we're about to see Jean-Philippe Mateta.
Yeah, not surprised. Again, just have a few minutes. Get used to that mask even more than before. And it might just cause a few problems, as Crystal Palace had been doing that for Arsenal in the last 10-15 minutes.
Partey back again towards Saliba. And again, Arsenal are seeing plenty of the ball in areas where they're almost at a standstill, because they're just all the time having to try and work out where the gaps are, as Lewis Skelly slips and there's an opportunity for Palace to break, but then Devaney slips. Odegaard's ball forward though is blocked by Lacroix, but it's won back by Partey, and it's a bit scrappy in the midfield third. Here is Hughes back towards Lacroix again, and Romain Esse, the former Millwall player, will also be coming on for the remaining 15 minutes or so. And Mateta, I think, having seen the balls going into the Arsenal penalty area, will be relishing this. And Saliba works hard to win it back for Arsenal on this near side. Now Timber. And Trossard takes over. Saka just holds his run to stay onside, and now he's in space. Mitchell once again trying to stick closely to him, but Saka just going in field to find Odegaard once again. Palace still waiting to make those two changes.
Be interesting to see sort of average positions of Trossard and Declan Rice, because quite often it's Declan Rice who's further forward, and Leandro Trossard who's kind of dropping off.
Given away by Partey. Here is Nketiah coming forward now for Palace. Wide towards the left, and Sarr fall forward in this attack as well. Sarr on the overlap to Mitchell. Mitchell delivering the cross in, and this time Raya with safe hands at the near post.
Yeah, it was a simple cross in the end, wasn't it? The way they got back so quickly. I talked about Declan Rice, he was almost the furthest forward. It's tracking back. I don't know how many kilometres he does over a whole season, but he must be up there with the very top ones of the Premier League.
Well, Salah Ahmed, our producer, tells me the VAR check took 2 minutes and 43 seconds to decide the ball was out.
I mean, it actually felt a lot longer, but it still should be shorter.
And Brighton West Ham will be our Premier League commentary on Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock this weekend, before Palace against Aston Villa at 5:15. And we've got the prospect of two really good FA Cup semi-finals. Of course, we've got one established team there in recent years. Of course, Aston Villa have been to cup finals in the last decade or so, but for Palace and Forest, it is going to be a massive occasion. Now Partey coming forward again with 13 minutes to play. Arsenal have been a bit loose in possession the last 10 minutes or so, and they've given the ball away again as Hughes clips it wide to the far side, and Sarr.
The ball won't go out, will they? They've been there on the touchline for the last 3 or 4 minutes. Mateta just almost continuing his warm-up.
They'll be waiting there for a good 3 or 4 minutes now, as Arsenal win it back again on the halfway line on the far side. Saliba in towards Ødegaard, and again Arsenal are either not moving the ball quickly or not being given the opportunity to move the ball quickly here. I think that's credit to the way Palace are playing.
Yeah, look, it is a bit of both. I think Palace have been very good without the ball, as we said, apart from that 2-1 goal, which could well end up being the winning goal. I don't think Arsenal have been at their best tonight.
But of course, all eyes will be focused on next Tuesday here as Rice tries to bring it forward now on this near side. Martinelli on the outside. Ødegaard and Saka wait inside the penalty area. Martinelli going back towards Partey. The crowd urging him to shoot, but it's now Timber on the right. Saka takes over. Double coverage from Sarr and Mitchell, but it comes back to Ødegaard, who hits it, and it's blocked in the end. Kivior will keep the attack going here. And now Saliba, and once again every outfield player is inside the Palace half. Ødegaard again. And now Kivior.
Still waiting, aren't they?
They are. We'll need a tracksuit top on again soon, the way things are going. Nice turn from Ødegaard, away from Hughes, 25 yards out, wide towards Martinelli on the left now. Martinelli going on the outside, the cross is a good one, and it's volleyed in and turned aside superbly by Dean Henderson. That's the save of the night so far. Both goalkeepers have had some difficult moments, but Henderson was brilliant there.
That's a fantastic save, it really is. Munoz showing Martinelli down the outside. It's exactly what he did, but was able to get the cross in. Lovely dink. And Saka on his left foot. It comes off Mitchell as well, but still it's all about the reactions of Dean Henderson. Brilliant save.
Eddie Nketiah and Martin Devaney coming off, and credit to the Arsenal crowd. A great ovation for Eddie Nketiah, who was one of their own. And he's played very well here for Crystal Palace tonight.
Yeah, I'd be disappointed, being the typical striker that he is. He wasn't able to get a goal, but he certainly worked very hard for his side. I do think he's better than people give him credit for, but ultimately you're judged on goals as a striker. Had injury problems, of course, this season as well.
Corner from Rice, high to the far post, and the free header is planted into the side netting from Trossard. It's currently Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. For the latest odds, head to Ladbrokes right now. Arsenal 15-2 on, Palace 28-1, the draw 11-2. All thanks to Ladbrokes, 18+, begambleaware.org. Trossard at the moment is the match winner, but he should have made it safe there. Henderson clears downfield with 9 minutes to play on Talksport. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 1. Mateta on this near side looking to take on Lewis Skelly, and Lewis Skelly was stronger there in the challenge and wins it back, but Martinelli's now giving the ball away to Munoz. Cut back towards Mateta, and Sarr scoops a shot high over the top when well placed.
They're not out of this, Palace. They are not out of this at all. Just one moment, if they are able to create it, or one mistake from Arsenal, one lack of concentration, I mean, Arsenal should be winning this game. Palace will be disappointed with the goals they conceded, but generally speaking, they have done well. And what with 8.5 minutes plus injury time to go, they just need to create one chance.
Raya wide towards the far side. And it's been the sort of game you often find before really season-defining games in a campaign. There have been some really good moments, but it's also been a bit bitty at times, which I suppose is all part of team selection, as it's been given away by Arsenal very cheaply. Mateta goes for the chip. Oh, what a magnificent goal by Jean-Philippe Mateta. It's a horrible error by William Saliba, but Mateta gathered 25 yards out, turned and clipped it high over David Raya, in off the underside of the crossbar. He's just come on, but Jean-Philippe Mateta showing why he is Crystal Palace's main man there. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2, and Liverpool are one more Palace goal from the title.
Well, that is just an incredible goal. Said about 2-1, they're not out of it. A mistake, a bit of brilliance. Well, I'll tell you what, it was both. William Saliba, you do not expect it from him. A lack of concentration, sometimes too easy. But
they're fiddling around, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. Just pass it. Just keep it to touch. Keep it moving. You're allowing the Palace players to come in. But still, Nige, still. That is fantastic play for Mateta. The awareness, the ability first to get away from his defender, Martin Odegaard. Well, let's face it, it's a heavyweight against a lightweight there, but he realised exactly where David Raya was. What a finish, giving him no chance whatsoever. That's a beautiful little dink. What a goal.
Well, he scored twice at Old Trafford, twice in the London derby win at West Ham, and he's got a goal here. 17 for the season now for Jean-Philippe Mateta.
And Arsenal got no one to blame but themselves. Saliba and Odegaard messing about at the back. David Raya not even in his own goal. Looking as if he wanted to receive the ball, but again, just think, what if someone makes a mistake here? But the execution of that was nothing short of sensational.
Kivior, infield towards Lewis Skelly. 2-2, 6 minutes to play. And those Liverpool players gathered to watch this game may have put their knives and forks down once again.
Camera phones at the ready.
Yes. Now Lewis Skelly. Midway inside the Palace half. Arsenal looked to have been stung into action here, but they were giving the ball away cheaply further up the field even before that.
It's not easy as well now, Nige, just suddenly switch it back on again. You're in sort of game management mode, just trying to keep the ball, see it out. And now you've got to step it on, trying to break down this Crystal Palace side, who, when they are at it themselves, are very difficult to break down.
Ethan Nwaneri and Kieran Tierney will be coming on soon. Another farewell appearance for Kieran Tierney at the Emirates Stadium.
You know what, with 5 minutes to go as well, plus injury time, if Palace are able to see this out, even for a draw, that gives them so much more confidence going into the game at the weekend. And yet if Arsenal was somehow able to find the winner, that will give them a lot of confidence as well. The backs against the wall, and they were able to step it up ahead of that game next week against PSG. So it's still a really interesting 5 minutes plus injury time to come.
Odegaard and Lewis Skelly coming off, Tierney and Nwaneri coming on. And the Palace fans on the far side all have their camera phones up for a light show. And Mateta on the field for less than 3 minutes before scoring that goal, which has brought them level. And we have seen two wonderful finishes from Crystal Palace. Eze on the volley in the first half, and the chip there from Mateta. Now it's a high ball up towards the edge of the penalty area. A missed kick from Kivior. Mateta could be in here, and it was almost left for Eze. And Arsenal nearly gifting Palace another chance.
Just got to be so careful. And then when William Saliba got the ball there, it was like, no, I'm hoofing this up the pitch. Can't mess around, can't concede a third goal, Arsenal. That will be the worst possible result for them ahead of PSG. And of course handing Liverpool the title.
Well, there is that, and there's also the way you can manage a game, but they were passive in the game management, weren't they? You can manage a game by keeping the ball and making the opposition work hard to try and win it back, and I'm not sure they were doing that.
But again, that's what I'm talking about, just one moment where you make a mistake, a lack of concentration is exactly what it was, and suddenly it's Mateta against Ødegaard, which is an absolute mismatch, but still a wonderful thing. But David Raya is trying to get back into the goal. It's not even in the goal.
Tierney on this near side for Arsenal. 2.5 minutes of normal time to play. 2-2 at the Emirates Stadium.
It's like when you're playing with kids. You know, you were kids back in the day, jumpers for goalposts, and someone's rushed goalie. No, I've got to get back in now. It's too late.
Eze with the ball down the centre, looking for Sarr, and it's overhit this time. And now it's quickly bowled out by Raya to find Nwaneri. 4 Premier League goals for him this season, the 18-year-old. And ultimately, the bigger picture is Liverpool will win the league, but Arsenal won't want to present it to them here in these circumstances, having led with less than 10 minutes to play.
Yeah, Arsenal want Liverpool to win the league, not for them to lose it. And, you know, as we said, it's all about the PSG game as well. And it's not the best preparation for it, is it? In terms of scoreline or performance.
But on the other hand, for Crystal Palace, if they take something from this game, and they've got Mateta and Eze scoring, then it's a great night for them.
It's a massive boost. They conceded 5 against City, 5 against Newcastle. Just aiming for a clean sheet, and they were down to 10 men for the whole of the second half at the weekend. 1-0 down after 3 minutes. I'm wondering, will there be another 5? Bounce back well.
And you're listening to Arsenal against Crystal Palace on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you. Into the 90th minute. 2-2 at the Emirates Stadium. A number of people beginning to make their way home now. But not the Crystal Palace fans, it must be said. Kivior. Wide towards Tierney for Arsenal down their left. Lifted high for Martinelli. Martinelli pulls it back, and it's cleared initially by Lacroix. And there is going to be a large portion of added time here at the end of this game, as Arsenal bring it forward again with Tierney, and it's claimed well by Henderson at the far post with Saka in the vicinity. Steve Martin, the 4th official, has the numbers board in hand, and the minimum of 8 more minutes.
Wow. You see 8 minutes? 8 minutes. Not quite sure where 8 minutes came from, but...
Sports bar coming up at the end of this game, possibly.
Plenty of time for Arsenal.
Plenty of time for Palace.
Yeah, that's true.
Plenty of time for Liverpool as well. Lerma. And you can always gauge how Arsenal have played by the looks on the faces of Arsenal fans going past us here, and not too many happy smiling faces at the moment. Mateta now down the right hand side, pulls it back low. Sarr with a great chance to flick it, scrambled away by Raya, and he never got hold of it there, Ismaila Sarr. Now Rice brings it clear, but he runs into Jefferson Lerma, and it will be a throw-in, and Palace could have won it there.
I wouldn't go home yet, whether I'm a Palace fan or an Arsenal fan.
Here is Martinelli on the break, and he's onside, deep into the penalty area on the left, and he hurries the shot under pressure from Lacroix into the side netting.
Well, I mean, still, there's every chance of either of these teams getting a winner. What a throw that is from Kieran Tierney. And Lacroix does so well because he's got that pace, he's able to come back. You just sort of think if Martinelli can get the ball out of his feet a little bit quicker and then run across him, he would have asked the defender certainly a question. But down the other end, just a minute or so before, Mateta looking so dangerous since he's come on, whipped in a great ball. In the end, Sarr gets the contact, but they say good defending there, positional defending from Saliba. Make sure his goalkeeper doesn't have to make the save. Great ending.
Here's another chance now for Sarr. In space down the right-hand side, pulls it in for Mateta, and just beyond Mitchell at the far post on the left. Mitchell now will recover it. Support from Kamada. And now back to the halfway line. And Gahey. And it's Palace here, scenting a late winner, which could end the Premier League title race here tonight. Henderson clears long downfield. Mateta in pursuit, but he won't get that one. Bounce into the arms of Raya.
It's amazing, isn't it? 8 minutes have gone up. It's actually Crystal Palace that look the most dangerous, the most likely to go on and get the winner.
Tierney on this left-hand side now for Arsenal, finding Martinelli. 2.5 minutes of added time played, and we still have around 5.5 minutes left. The Sports Bar will be taking your calls at the end of this game. 03717 2233 44. And it's proved to be a really interesting game for so many reasons.
As long as Palace don't lose this, they can take so much going into the game at the weekend. They really can. Scoreline and performance. Certainly be disappointing for Arsenal.
Long clearance downfield from Henderson, headed away by Saliba. And it's a throw-in for Palace on this near side, which Glasner quickly fields for Munoz. Munoz and Eze coming short, but it's slightly longer to Hughes, and now Eze down the right-hand side, closed down by Tierney, and Palace have another throw-in with just over 4 minutes of added time to play here. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2 on Talksport. And it's turning into a dramatic finish here at the Emirates Stadium. The late equaliser from Jean-Philippe Mateta. And Jefferson Lerma now winding up for a long throw on this near side. In towards the near post. It's allowed to bounce, and it skips behind, and a goal kick's been given.
It was a long run up. It was a short, long throw, really, wasn't it?
Yes. It's back to Raya inside the penalty area, and there's some urgency now from the Arsenal supporters. Timber. Saka was denied by that excellent save by Henderson when it was 2-1. But from the moment Mateta equalised, Palace have had chances to go ahead. But now Arsenal with Martinelli, found by Rice on this near side, the left. Back again to Kivior. Into the 96th minute. Saliba. Finding Saliba, finding Timber again, and now Saka, who's been dealt with fairly well by Mitchell in one-to-one play so far, as Partey plays it wide to Timber again. Saka with the opportunity to attack, but he's got double coverage again. Now Kivior, 25 yards out, encouraged to shoot on the left foot, but instead he finds Martinelli. He goes for a curling ball in, aim for Saka, and it's guarded behind, and it will be a goal kick. Offside as well. And that's the cue for more Arsenal fans to head for home with 2 minutes of added time to play. And it's going to be more drop points in the run into the end of the season. It would be 13 points dropped in 9 games.
Yeah, and they would have been 8 points ahead of Manchester City. Obviously Nottingham Forest and Newcastle having a game in hand, but I just think tonight was about trying to get the 3 points, trying to cement that second spot. And not only have they not done that yet, I still believe they will finish second, but performance has been pretty poor. Crystal Palace deserve to get a point out of this for sure.
Tierney coming forward now with 90 seconds of added time to play. Infield towards Kivior. Rice has gone forward to support Trossard, and Now Partey. And Arsenal at times have rather given the ball away in this sort of area, but now Kivior has the opportunity to work it wide with the help of Ranieri, and it will be a throw-in which Tierney takes back towards Ranieri once again. And Palace got everybody back, looking to hold on to what would be a very welcome point. They've not got too much of the Emirates Stadium in the Premier League era. Into the final minute of added time. The Arsenal fans curling for urgency. Partey. Now Saka. Timber makes the run in behind. Saka's cross into the box is headed away by Munoz. Kivior. He started it. Can he finish it? Well, he's found Rice. Rice finding Trossard. Shuffles to the left-hand side. Then comes back inside onto the right foot. The cross in is deep, but it's gathered by Henderson. And that should be that.
Yeah, again, it's too floaty, isn't it? I mean, Henderson, the ability to come out and claim it, just kill a bit of time, settle for a draw now.
And that is it. Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2. So Liverpool do not win the Premier League title here tonight, but they can take care of business at home to Tottenham on Sunday. Arsenal drop more points in the run-in towards the end of the season, and Crystal Palace, thanks to Jean-Philippe Mateta, are able to celebrate a very welcome point in a stadium where they've had some really bad days in recent years. Bigger games coming up for both, but there's no doubt Crystal Palace will take more from this one. Full time, Arsenal 2, Crystal Palace 2.
What a weird performance from Arsenal. You know, they weren't really even pushing too hard for the win, and I know it doesn't really matter, but I mean, they're making Liverpool wait. Obviously, Liverpool will be happy because they can do it in front of their own fans on Sunday. I get all of that, but just a very strange performance, I thought, from the Gunners. I felt like they really needed to rev up into top gear before PSG come here next Tuesday. But listen, if they peak at the right time at this stadium next Tuesday, then nobody will care what's happened here tonight. But what a goal from JP Mateta. First of all, we've looked at the defending for Arsenal's goals in the first half. Nobody marking Eze for the Palace goal. I mean, Saliba, Odegaard just get it all wrong for Arsenal. And I'm also looking at, I know Raya has himself as an outfield player when they're trying to play out, but you've got to be able to sniff danger and get back into position quicker as well, haven't you?
Absolutely spot on, Aid, especially when you're in the 83rd minute, you're 2-1 up and you're trying to see the game out. You know, it's one thing to try and add an extra option, but if you're the goalkeeper, you know, you just need to think. Again, it's pretty, I wouldn't say schoolboy stuff, but academy stuff. You're taught, you know, what if something happens here? And yes, you know, in training you practice this, you get the extra option, you come out, but you know, you're 7 minutes away from getting a hard-earned 3 points against a very good Crystal Palace side who really have turned up tonight. But you don't just, Saliba sloppy, Odegaard's just bullied, and then suddenly Raya's scrambling to get into his goal. It was a great finish though, wasn't it? He just, I mean, it was a pitching wedge, maybe even a sand wedge out the bunker within inches of the hole.
And of course, always looks better when it goes in off the under side of the bar. But
exactly.
I think we were talking about Mateta, and what level is he at? Could he be a top player, a Champions League player, a player who goes for the title, or is he that rung below? What level is he at? Well, let me tell you that since Glasner took over at Palace, only Isak, Haaland and Salah have scored more Premier League goals than JP Mateta, and with that kind of quality, you're amazed. Yes, he's played for France at the Olympics, but he's not a full French international. You're amazed at that, really.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have some bad players, do they?
They're okay. They meant the odd World Cup final here and there.
the odd one. But he is a talent, and look, does he have the ability, does he have the talent to be a Champions League player and play for a team fighting for the Premier League? Does he have the talent? Yes. Is he able to do that on a consistent basis and deal with the mentality of wearing that heavy shirt that we spoke about, that a lot of, certainly the Manchester United players are not able to do, and Rasmus Højlund is struggling to deal with? Honestly, I'm not sure. I'd be interested to know how much Crystal Palace would want. We know they really do drive a hard bargain, but he's shown here tonight what he's capable of. There's not many players in the Premier League that are capable of doing what he just did there.
Time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whether you're on holiday, at home or away this summer, Enterprise has locations all over Europe and a vehicle that's just right for you.
Some really good performers out there tonight, Scott Minto. Who are you going for?
How long does the sub have to come on before he can go?
You can pick whoever you want, honestly. Because if they do something that really changes the game significantly, and then I'm all for it.
Well, Ruud Gullit used to say to us, I wanted to do two things to affect the game. Now, Mateta wasn't on the pitch long enough to do a second thing, but the one thing he did was certainly very, very special. And actually, it wasn't just that. He did cause the Arsenal defence a lot of problems as well. I feel sorry for likes of Mark Guehi and Max Lacroix and even Jefferson Lerma, who's playing out of position as a third centre-half, who defended, I felt, really, really well. I'm going to give it to Mateta.
Do it. I mean, it's an incredibly high-quality finish.
Do you know what? The way he played, as well as that finish, and the confidence now that Crystal Palace can take into their game against Aston Villa in the semi-final, that was a special moment. That was a special goal, and he came on and made the difference. I'm going to give it to Mateta.
I'm going to ask you a quick question about the forthcoming games for both in just a second. A very quick question, but JP Mateta wasn't on long, but he's got man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.